What's up, everybody? BigSweetC here with you. Got a special little video for you. It is finally back. Football season has returned, and I wanted to give you a little post-game one pre-season preview of who I think is going to do well this season if you guys are football fans. And I'm curious as to what we're going to go down and how it's going to play out. You know, this is the first year where they're going to have 18 weeks, 17 games instead of 16. And they carry over the 7 playoff teams versus the 6 that we have come accustomed to from a couple of years ago. So it's a pretty interesting season. I'm always fascinated by it because everything is always what people expect, but at the same time, everything everybody doesn't expect, and it's exciting. So now I know technically the game last night started the season, the Buccaneers and the Dallas Cowboys. I actually recorded this a couple of days before that, so this is technically my preview. I'm going to assume that the Buccaneers are going to win that one because, well, we're going to get started with the division winners, and we're going to start with the NFC. Speaking of the Buccaneers, might as well start in the NFC South. I think the Buccaneers are going to win the division this year. I don't think they won it last year. They were the 5 seed, so I believe it was the Saints. Now, the Saints lost Drew Brees. The Bucs are returning all 22 starters. No-brainer. Don't get me wrong, Sam Darnold looks good for Carolina, but I don't think Christian McCaffrey is going to be the MVP. Well, I mean, Atlanta hasn't really been all that relevant for a few years now, so I don't know if that's going to change. I don't think so. I think the Buccaneers are going to take the NFC South. The NFC North is going to be won by the Green Bay Packers, and then the NFC East is going to be won by the Washington Football Team. Those are 2 repeats from the previous season. I didn't see any real change in anything other than maybe Dak Prescott eventually comes back for the Dallas Cowboys to really make me think that anything is going to change in those divisions. Aaron Rodgers comes back for Green Bay. They still have Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones. I don't think that offense is going to slow down anytime soon, and I think it pretty much wins the North for them, considering you got Justin Fields in Chicago now. Minnesota could be tough, and then Detroit, well, Detroit might be the worst team in football at this moment, so the NFC North is going to go to the Green Bay Packers. In the NFC East, I think the Dallas Cowboys do eventually get Dak back, and they do better this year. They might sneak in as the wild card, but it's going to be won by the Washington Football Team. Finally, the NFC West is arguably the best division in football. You have the NFC West and then the AFC North, which we'll get to a little bit later. But I think 3 of the 4 teams of the NFC West are actually going to make the playoffs. I think LA is going to win. I think the upgrade from Jared Goff to Matthew Stafford, even though I'm a Matthew Stafford fan, I might be biased because he spent 9 years, 10 years, 11 years, however long it was in Detroit. But I think the upgrade from Goff to Stafford is going to put them over the top because LA is already a good football team. They've got a great opportunistic defense. All they needed was that one guy to take the pressure off the offense, and their little short routes kind of open up the defense a little bit. And I think that's what Matthew Stafford gives them. So I think they're going to take the division. However, I also think Arizona and Seattle are going to be right around the 9, 10, 11 win range for the season, putting them in the 5-6 slot with the Cowboys coming in as the 7 seed in the NFC playoffs. So your division winners, you've got Green Bay Packers are going to be number 1. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who I think are just going to struggle a little bit more because there's a little bit more opportunity, I think, for them to lose inside the division. Plus, Bruce Arians likes to rest his old guys. He likes old guys. He likes to rest his old guys during the regular season. So I think they might drop 1 or 2, which allows Green Bay to go in and kind of take that number 1 spot. I think Green Bay is going to be number 1. Buccaneers are going to be number 2. You've got the Washington Football Team at 3. You've got the Los Angeles Rams at 3, and then the Washington Football Team at number 4. With 5 and 6, now this is the toughest one. I think Arizona slightly beats out Seattle. I think Arizona is a slightly better football team than Seattle right now. So Arizona is going to be 5, Seattle will be 6, and then I'm going to put the Dallas Cowboys. There you go, Cowboy fans. I never thought I would say it. I'm going to put the Dallas Cowboys in at the 7th spot in the NFC playoffs. On the flip side, the AFC, we're going to start with the AFC West and the defending AFC champions, the Kansas City Chiefs. They have gone to the last 2 Super Bowls. They probably could have gone to 3 had it not been for Mr. Tom Brady in his final season in New England. And they might have fairly well won 3 straight Super Bowls had it not been for Tom Brady. I still think they're probably right now the number 1 team in the AFC total. And they're probably going to run away with their division. Terry Bridgewater kind of makes a quarterback conundrum in Denver. You've got the LA Chargers. I think Justin Herbert's going to be a good quarterback, but I don't think he's quite there yet. And Austin Eckler is coming off an injury, so it's hard to see how their running game is going to be. And then you have the Las Vegas Raiders. Excuse me, I almost called them the LA Raiders. The Las Vegas Raiders. Who knows? It's hard to judge what they're going to do. They're going to start probably 7-0, and then they're going to finish 7-10. The Raiders are hard to judge, and they're not very consistent, which doesn't bode well for success. So the Kansas City Chiefs are going to be the AFC West champions. In the AFC South, now this is actually probably I'm going to say the worst division in football. You got Jacksonville, you got Houston, you got Indianapolis, and then you've got the Tennessee Titans. Now, Tennessee, I think, is probably going to win the division. I think the loss of Phillip Rivers in Indianapolis knocks them down a notch. They still have a fantastic young defense, but I think the lack of experience at the quarterback position, I know they signed somebody, and I'm having trouble thinking who it is, but it wasn't like they went out and got Aaron Rodgers to replace Phillip Rivers. So I think that's what gives the slight edge to the Tennessee Titans. Houston is probably actually in the worst position because of the whole Deshaun Watson sexual harassment accusations. So they're probably in the worst position. Trevor Lawrence might have a baller year in Jacksonville. James Robinson has proved himself as a very viable RB1. But they're still a young team. You know, they've got a new head coach in Urban Meyer. Who knows if his college football is going to translate into the pros. We've seen a lot of success go by the wayside. Most recently, I can think of, I can't remember his name, Brian Kelly. Was it Brian Kelly? Bob Kelly? Bill Kelly? Whatever. The Chip Kelly, one of the Kelly brothers in Philadelphia. His up-paced tempo style was basically garbage in the NFL. So we'll see how Urban does. I wish him the best of luck, though, because I actually like the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think James Robinson's a good dude, and I think Trevor Lawrence is pretty special and unique in terms of his skill set that he brings to the team. But I don't think they're going to make that big a splash this year. So your AFC South is going to go to Indianapolis. They're going to be the 4 seed. We'll get to that in a second. In the AFC East, you've got the Bills. Yep, that's right. That's the only team in the AFC East. No, I'm just kidding. You got New England, who, I mean, the Mac Jones era is on. But, I mean, the Bills look good, and they made it to the AFC Championship last year. They returned a lot of starters, and Josh Allen just looks like he's getting better and better. So I think they've pretty much got a stranglehold on that division. Miami's got Tua turn the ball over, so we'll see how he does. I think they're probably going to be 8-9, 9-8, something to that effect. I think they'll be pretty good. And then the New York Jets have Zach Wilson. And, well, we all know how Bill Belichick likes to shit on rookie quarterbacks. So I think if Belichick gets to him early, I think it's going to destroy his confidence. And, well, we'll see. I don't think the Jets are going to do all that well, even if Zach Wilson is a lot better than they think, or than I think he is right now. But I can't. Their history alone, I don't think you can legitimately believe that the New York Jets have a chance at winning the division, let alone making the playoffs. So Buffalo going to be probably the number 1 seed. Again, we'll get to that in a second. AFC North, just like the NFC West, probably one of the toughest 2 divisions in football. You've got Cleveland, Pittsburgh, and the Ravens, Baltimore. You've got a young quarterback and a young couple of wide receivers in Cincinnati. Who knows how they do? I don't think they're going to win very many games. I'm guessing they're probably going to finish in the bottom of the AFC North. But I wouldn't be surprised if Cleveland actually wins. Again, much like the NFC West, I actually think 3 teams out of this division are going to make the playoffs. Now, I know Hugh's going to hate this, but I think Pittsburgh is probably number 3 in that aspect. I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say Cleveland finishes higher in the standings than Pittsburgh. But I do think Baltimore, behind Lamar Jackson, behind the running game, even though they've had some struggles. I know they lost a couple of guys to season-ending injury, but they like to run the ball. They've got a good scheme, and they still have the returning MVP. So I think they win the AFC North. But 3 teams, I think, have 10 wins in that division. I think it's going to go Baltimore, Cleveland, Pittsburgh. Finally, last but certainly not least, the AFC. Nope. Oh, no, that was it. Yeah, we went around the clock. So we have in the AFC, number 1 seed is going to be the Buffalo Bills. Just because I think Kansas City's kind of learned that they don't necessarily have to win every game all season long. They might kind of start doing more of like what the Buccaneers do, kind of resting their players a little bit. So I think Buffalo, just because of the schedule, we'll say, I think Buffalo is going to be number 1. I think Kansas City is going to be number 2. I think your AFC East winner, or sorry, your AFC North winner is going to be number 3, and that's going to be the Baltimore Ravens. Number 4 is going to be the Indianapolis Colts. 5, 6, and 7. At 5, you're going to have the Cleveland Browns. 6, you're going to have the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, the 7th team in the AFC has actually been the one that I'm kind of most curious about. I'm going to say that it's going to be Tennessee. But I would not be surprised if LA snuck in there, the Chargers. I would not be surprised. I think it's going to be Tennessee, though, in the 7 slot. Behind the power running game of Derrick Henry, Ryan Tannehill, if he can perform 85% as well as he did last season, I think he's going to be fantastic. I think they're probably going to win a lot of football games this year. So there you go. Now, when we get into the actual games themselves in the playoffs, I think out of the 7 teams on each side, you really kind of have to give it to experience. I know this is going to be kind of shoddy to say, but I think it's probably going to be a repeat of last year is what I'm leaning towards. Now, for the purpose of this estimation, I'm actually going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say that in the conference finals, the Los Angeles Rams beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Tampa Bay, and the Buffalo Bills beat the Kansas City Chiefs in Buffalo, New York, and Buffalo is going to win the Super Bowl this year. I think Josh Allen's going to take his team to the top. I think they had a very legitimate shot of doing so last year. I think they finally kind of put it all together. They've got one of the easiest divisions in football, allowing them a little bit of leeway. They don't have to work as hard during the regular season. I think that's going to help them in the playoffs. I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say Josh Allen is going to be the MVP of the Super Bowl, and the Buffalo Bills are going to win the Super Bowl. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. How far off was I? Was I completely off? Was I spot on? All you Buffalo fans, I want to see some likes. Hit this. Let me know in the comments below who you think's going to win the Super Bowl. How does this season going to play out? Who's going to be your MVP? I'm going to put this out there right now. I actually think Saquon Barkley has an MVP season. I would not be surprised if he goes out and rushes for 2,000 yards. Wouldn't be surprised. Now, I don't think he's going to be the MVP. I think it's probably going to be, my guess is probably Patrick Mahomes again. But let me know what you guys think below. If you want more of the football commentary as we go through the season, do me a favor, hit that comment section below as well. Let me know. Either way, hit that like button, hit that sub button, hit that notification bell so you know when I do drop a new video or go live. Head on over to Twitch, Instagram, and Twitter. Follow me over there as well, at BigSweetC. Either way, that's going to do it for this one. BigSweetC, that's me. Wishing YouTube, that's you. Wonderful day, night, morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day it might be. As long as you're watching, I'm wishing you a wonderful watching time. Sweetness, signing off. Peace.